How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to Rise of Rome. We're playing the scenario from the Warlords Civilization 4 scenarios, and it's already at the end of a turn, as you might recall when I finished the last episode. So let's advance that one. And we're getting our Praetorians over there. We're getting all our military units into position. We're building a forum in Rome because we need the gold, and Rome is currently our biggest producer of said resource. But I would like to also concentrate on like cities over here. This is not all that smart allocation, in my opinion. Like, I was missing out on the iron there. That was obviously a better one. But instead of building, working the farm here actually makes sense because this is going to take 23 turns for the city to grow. But I disagree. That makes us stagnant. I would like the city to grow, but at the same time, I'd like to grow my cottages because it's a long-term investment there. So instead of working the iron, I'm going to be working the farm and that hamlet. Currently 2 gold. So for those of you who are unaware of how resource or like improvements work in this game, this is a very unoptimal allocation of citizen resources there. Should have obviously been working the cottage. So it might be important for me to actually cycle through these from time to time, not manually microing them, to make sure that we're working resources that actually contribute long-term to my economy. So when you're building towns, when you're building cottages, they initially don't yield much. If we go into Rome, for example, we can see I have 2 cottages here, or 3 cottages, and a third, a hamlet. But after you work those tiles for a certain number of turns, for a cottage, it's 10 turns. For a hamlet, it's 20 turns, I think. They continue to grow in size and in prosperity. So as you grow those villages up, those improvements, they'll become more and more lucrative to actually be a part of your empire. And that's the long game that we're playing here. Now, I'm actually not sure. I think... this city definitely needs an improvement of mine, but we want to build the improvement next to that tile way up there by the river because, we want to build the tile up here because there's 1 additional gold that will be provided to us. I mean, it is a little bit risky to actually go and build an improvement up on this area because it's much easier for it to get pillaged, but... overall, that 1 gold is actually important to me at this point in the game. So, let's explain that once. Why is the 1 gold here and not here? Well, because this tile is next to a river. This tile is not. So if I clear the forest here, number 1, it's going to take me longer to actually have a mine up and going there. And while I'm working on that, we're not actually enjoying any additional production. And number 2, it's not next to a river. So ultimately, I'm not going to be able to get that extra gold from tiles that are next to rivers like this one up here. The city can work the tile up here once I get a mine built there. This city overall is not the best. I actually might want to build a cottage there instead. But see, the thing is, it already has very good growth rate with this farm that it's working with the wheat. One of the few resources we actually have. And if I build just more productive stuff, more growth-oriented improvements, that's actually going to be something I can't handle long term because my cities are they don't have a whole lot of happiness. Are there any luxury resources we can even acquire in this game? It's not really, gold, but we'd have to invade Egypt for that. If we captured Memphis, once again, Egypt might be one of those civilizations that's a little bit easier to deal with because they don't have quite as much support here. Like, we can easily segment their cities off as we're invading, I think, to help limit the amount of support they can provide. And Egypt, the great thing about invading them would be they provide a lot of bonus resources here, or luxury resources, which will increase our happiness. So I'm thinking, I don't want to rule Egypt out entirely. They have a very strong unit, the Axemen, which actually makes it a lot more difficult for me to attack them with my current units. But then, we look at Carthage, and they just don't have any bonus resources that would actually help us. Maybe we'll actually have to go for a settler. Because like mining silver over here, I think a lot of this area is going to be taken over by the Celts. He's currently furious with me. He won't trade anything, so that's a no-go there. A lot of this area is taken over by the Celts, but we do have wine and silver right there. Those could be options in the future because right now we just don't have any luxury resources and we kind of need them to continue growing our cities. Okay. Can we deposit? No, okay, those units are all out of movement points. So that there is our stack. We're going to see how this goes. We have a couple more Praetorians coming, but I think we want after I get these last 2 units into the stack, we're going to start invading. I mean, we are already 10 turns in. Everybody else has 100 victory points versus me. Let's take a look at settings here. Victories. There are 240 turns left. So yeah, we're 10 turns in. I think this is a fairly good time to actually get the war started. So in a couple of turns, we're actually going to be declaring war on Greece and moving into their lands. And then we can continue to supply units as time goes by. So that will be good. I could turn on fast unit animations, but at the same time, they look really bad then. Like they don't animate at all. So it's not just simply sped up, it's actually disable some of the movement animations, which I didn't want to do. It made it look ugly. Okay, here's our stack of units. We just have to wait one more turn and then they can all move. And I think we're going to be traveling here via these forested hills for the 75% defensive bonus to anything that tries to attack our stack. But we'll continue, like I said, to move military units into position even after we've declared war. So, created a catapult here. The interesting thing about playing at this difficulty level, for those who are uninitiated, I'm playing it on the... I don't remember. Okay, let's see here. I'm playing it on the Emperor difficulty, which I thought was a compromise between the default difficulty of Noble and Deity. I don't think I'm good enough to play at Deity, but we wanted to give it a little bit of a challenge. I didn't want this to be a walk in the park, right? We build a courthouse. It's not going to provide us with much gold, but if we build a forum, it provide us with even less gold. So I think in the wake of that, we're going to do the militaristic thing and build a trebuchet. We're building a trebuchet in a few of these cities now, which I advise wholeheartedly because if you stop building for war when you're planning to go to war, that can turn out pretty badly because as you lose units, you lose momentum. And if you don't have units to replace those, that is actually putting yourself in a very bad situation. Now, obviously, I am not doing so well economically. I do have a bit of a treasury here to bankroll my adventures in Greece, but at the same time, we have to be careful about how we invade and make sure that we don't waste time. Okay, all of our units are ready. Today is the turn we declare war. And I think I actually want to save the game, just in case, just to set a reference point for us. I'm going to be using the triremes here. I believe that is what they're called. We're going to be using them. I'm going to be calling them triremes. We're going to be using them to bombard the defenses of Delhi here. Or Delphi. So, wait, let's first promote all of our units. Overall, we have the option between city attack and combat 1. Since these are just initial promotions, we're only going to be getting a couple of them. I think I want to do half combat 1 and half city raider. So we're going to promote this one. Oh, this is our last unit, okay, that we can promote. Let's promote for city raider. The catapults can save for later when we're actually in position. So there we go, our first war. Didn't want things to get too stagnant now, did we? Our workers finally gotten in position to build that mine. If you might recall from last episode, I sort of explained why I was going in that direction with the mine. Yeah, so declared war on Greece. Now, the biggest threat is that they come through here. And that's another 17 turns, so I'm going to be hurrying the Praetorian once again for 1 population. So we can actually get a Praetorian over here to help defend these tiles against whatever Greece is going to throw at me. I don't want them running, to my economy? Wow, the city is actually unhappy. and not because of slavery either. But I'm going to, no, okay, the growth is pretty much stopped now that one citizen is unhappy. Okay, that's not going to be a problem. I mean, obviously I am paying the civic costs for having that unit, or having that population, but it's not going to be that significant at this point. So we invaded, or we sent all of our units into foreign lands. We're now losing 5 gold per turn. So like I said, you got to be a little bit careful with that. Next turn, I'll be able to get these 2 Praetorians into position along with the rest of my army. So moving along fairly well. Here's another city that's unhappy. The city's not making a whole lot of gold, but it is costing us a fair bit of maintenance. So I am interested in doing courthouses in this game, but I'm not sure I want to build them until we have finished our conquest of Greece. I think that's sort of the frame that I'm setting for myself. Let's build another Praetorian there. I think first we want to conquer Greece, and then we can start focusing a little bit on economy before going on the offensive once again. Oh, I did not actually want to fortify that trebuchet there. We want to bring the trebuchet into the battle as soon as possible. Okay. Fortunately, just a couple of units here. I might have actually overestimated how much I need. And why can't my triremes bombard? Is that tile not accessible? It sure looks like it should be accessible. If you look at the unit grid, it sure as hell is accessible. Well, let me take a look at the ships. Units T. No, apparently they can't bombard. That's weird. They're just fighting units. Pretty sure can the galleys bombard in this one? Sometimes they switch up the rules like that, which can be confusing when they do it for like no real good reason. Nope. Okay, so we won't be able to use any units to bombard. Oh well. Or any naval units to bombard city defenses, which is a shame. But we still have plenty of catapults here, so we're going to use those instead. And then, like I said, here we have my Praetorian. I'm going to be stationing him up here to protect my iron especially, and just prevent Greece from easily getting into my empire. A lot of AIs adopted civics, new civics this turn. So like 10 turns or so in, yeah, that sort of makes sense. Like 13 turns, well, it's a little bit longer than usual. I created a Praetorian here. I don't think a granary is important yet. I mean, obviously there was something to be said for it, but like I said before in the previous video, my cities are relatively growth oriented. I have a lot of fertile land. So instead, like library, not that important. The research that we're doing is not going to be all that critical. Barracks. We do want to start building barracks because it'll give us better units. Units with more experience. Not quite as critical as in Civilization 3, but having more experience is always a good thing. So for those who aren't aware, falling into the trap of building buildings is one of the easiest mistakes to make as a new player of Civilization 4, or really any Civilization game, because a lot of them are largely superfluous. You don't need them. With the overflow that we have, actually, from rushing that Praetorian, we can build an archer or a chariot in 1 turn. So that might be an interesting option to keep in mind here. I don't think I'm going to need a lighthouse. Definitely don't need any of these buildings that provide additional health. Courthouse is tempting. Barracks is tempting as a couple of buildings, but instead I think we want to get a head start on another Praetorian. We can use the Praetorian to defend against other threats around my my country here, my current landmass. Okay. Next turn. He still has not sent, Greece has still not sent anything to help fortify this city at all. So we have 1 catapult here that's capable of 2 promotions. So I'm pretty sure if we do catapult right there, and let's say that we give it the collateral damage promotion. No, yeah, okay. Let's say we give it collateral damage unit promotion number 1, Barrage 1 it's called. The next one is 10% city bombard damage. So we will use this unit for bombarding city defenses faster. We're going to promote it for that. So bombards 10% per turn. Otherwise, they bombard by 6% per turn. So you can see a fairly decent increase, especially when it comes to long term. Okay, the city defenses have been reduced to 0. I'm fairly certain that trebuchets, like the one he has here, do not take collateral damage. So there is virtually no point in me attacking the city with my catapults, because they're not going to be causing any collateral damage. So instead, I'm going to promote this Praetorian for city attack, and we're going to see what kind of odds we have here. Not the best. Now, this is an interesting aspect. Trebuchets actually have 100% city strength in this game. I'm not exactly sure if that was intended or not. But what it ultimately means is that they're very good at defending cities. Look at this. 100%, yeah, it's 7 versus 760. Normally, trebuchets are only good at attacking cities, but in this game, they're better than archers at defending cities, which says something about the archers, like that the balance doesn't seem to be right there. Okay, well, we're not going to be dealing, I mean, we're going to have to sacrifice some units here. We're going to be building more. It makes sense. That guy did not do any damage to the trebuchet whatsoever. But that second one did. It pretty much removed, yeah, down to 0.2 health. This Praetorian also has city attack. And we won against the archer. Not very good odds, but we won. And captured the city, just like that. That was not, that siege did not take very long, fortunately. Hopefully that we can wrap up this campaign in a relatively short amount of time without losing too many units. Obviously, we lost 2 Praetorians already. We didn't lose any catapults. That was a glitch. Yeah, just sort of warped around the place there. But I am building more Praetorians, so it's okay to sacrifice them a little bit in this regard. And I'm going to be stationing that Praetorian right next to Greece's city here to prevent them from walking through this area. It's going to cost me a little bit of gold to have that unit stationed out there in foreign territory, like usual. And I don't think I'm paying enough attention to my actual cities here. So I might want to cycle through them again, since I'm managing them manually to make sure they produce gold. I might not have to do this. Like if I just say automate cities, but focus on gold, that might be the best solution here. This city's terrible. I'm going to focus on... Wow, I should actually improve the tiles in the city. There is only 1 cottage, and I'm having to work a sea-based tile for 2 gold and 1 food, which is not ideal. So yeah, what I'm going to be doing, focusing on gold, and then I'm going to automate all these cities, but with a focus on gold. That way, if I don't micromanage them every turn, I'm not going to be losing out big. Okay. On with the war. We have a Praetorian available here. Let's deposit him. There we go. And I think I'm just going to keep these triremes in 2 bundles to help defend my galleys. Now, I mentioned that there was a city that needed improvement badly, and it was this one. So we're going to move the worker over there next and build a cottage. And for this city, I'm going to be building culture initially to make sure the borders expand, and then we can start focusing on whatever goals come after that. So one of Greece's cities down so far. Next, we'll take Athens, and then finally Sparta. So I think this will be a 3-city campaign. We're going to be aiming for taking 3 cities that will easily give me cultural control of this area, the Greek islands here, the Greek Isle. It's more of a peninsula, actually. But then we can actually move on to other things. Like, we don't have to fully take Greece out of the game. We just wanted their victory resources. And then we can start focusing on another opponent. I'm thinking Carthage. I like going after Carthage because historically Rome goes after Carthage. So that is very appealing to me from a historical aspect. But we can always go after Egypt. Like, Egypt does have luxury resources, and that would be a boon to my economy because it would allow my cities to grow bigger. We could go after the Celts, but I really don't want to because I have to get ships all the way over there. For those who aren't aware, the Celts have their their victory resource here on the UK or on the English island. And what that's going to mean is I'm going to have to sail all around the Strait of Gibraltar here. Yeah, with ships to transport my army from like Europe to the England, or from Europe to England. I think they're pretty much off, in my opinion, off the potential targets list because of that. Okay, next turn in. We have our first trebuchet ready to be sent to the front lines. Those trebuchets, which for some unknown reason are inexplicably great at actually defending cities. I guess you could view it from the like the standpoint of a mangonel, where mangonels have historically been like used to defend cities and whatnot. I mean, we have seen. Hey, my Praetorian here is ready for a second city promotion. City attack, 45% city attack. Works for me. Let's get all of those units in my city. We're now earning quite a bit of gold because we no longer are having to pay unit supply costs. Okay, plenty of Praetorians here. We're just going to station for one turn, and then next turn we're going to be moving onwards to Athens again. Let's just fortify there. Oh, we've seen our first Greek activity here. And we've also seen what? We also have a trireme over here and a galley. So Greek is finally taking some measures against me. Fortunately, I have him overwhelmed in terms of numbers on this side, but he could cause some damage over on this side. Pillage of fish resource. Overall, it's not that big of a deal, but just something to keep in mind. I'm not heavily reliant on the sea, I say, as I notice 4 fishing, 5 fishing, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 sea tiles are being worked. Not critical, but Navy might actually be something I want to focus on in the future. I had not really considered that. We can defend. Most likely he will attack first. So I'm going to send my trireme over there, double them up here, and also add the galleys to the mix, I think. This galley has a trebuchet in it, so I really don't want to sacrifice it. We have another catapult, though. So I think we're going to get the trebuchet out. Unfortunately, it's out of movement points there, and if this guy, he won't talk to me. If Greece comes along and with something I don't see over here in the fog of war and attacks it, it's probably going to die because it's not in a city or attacking a city. We want our good bombard catapult. We're going to go, well, we could go 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going to stick to the hills here. So here we have the classic unit stack management. That catapult just warped into position. That was definitely a problem yet. I think they finally ironed that out to a great extent in Beyond the Sword, but I mean, even now, those catapults should not be facing that direction. When I run a catapult up there, it shouldn't just turn to the south because I wasn't driving in that direction with the catapult to begin with. That's something you'll see. I want to heal this Praetorian. The rest, a lot of these other Praetorians can leave the city. Yeah. I think rather than actually using archers at all in this match, I'm just going to be using siege equipment to defend my cities. I'm going to have trebuchets stationed in them. Obviously, they're not going to get a fortification bonus, but at this point, they're going to be more powerful than the archers, aren't they? I mean, when I attacked Greece, they were more powerful than the archers. And here we have another Praetorian. Move them over onto those lines. Hey, our first mine got built over here. As you can see, we're getting that additional commerce from it. But we probably also want to build a cottage. And I think this would be an ideal spot for it, as it only takes me 1 movement point to get there. Our second trebuchet is out. So I built a Praetorian. I lost a couple of Praetorians, so we definitely want to build more to keep us from losing too many. I built a trebuchet in this city. There's no point in building stuff like horse archers. I mean, 50 versus catapults, what's that? It's a very, very weak unit. 50 cost versus 45. Yeah, it's like 5. It's 5 more than a Praetorian, and it's significantly weaker. My trireme has defended against a Greek trireme. What are our odds against this galley? 98%. Let's do it. Hannibal has completed the Stonehenge. That's not very historical. What are you doing, Hannibal? The Celts are supposed to finish that in England. One nice thing about Civilization 4 that I especially like over Civilization 6 about it is the fact that we can always view the event log. I don't know why they got rid of that in Civilization 6. Okay, let's move all these units into position. Now, Greece does have a fair few units here. Well, 3. I guess that's not that many. Okay. Never mind. We're doing just fine. Let's get the catapult moving into position there. Tell everything to sleep. Trebuchet goes into my city. Excellent. Praetorian can fortify there. We're very close to getting our first victory resource. 60 defense, though. Those walls are fairly more difficult to break. Oh, we have reduced the defenses to 0 already. So this is going to be a quick siege overall. He built a workboat in there. Great prioritization there. Another trebuchet. Let's get that going. Why are these cities so unhappy? They're still unhappy about the forced labor. So we're just going to basically leave it at that for now. Focus more on finishing this conquest. And our trireme earned a promotion. Promoted for combat, and we're gonna see. He's gonna be Greece is gonna be causing some trouble over here, so I'm gonna send my trireme over there, hopefully to intercept that. Okay, this city is doing well now, but I think we want to build one more cottage right here, so it has the opportunity to expand to that area once the unhappiness is over. We've completed a trebuchet. I think we're just gonna go with another Praetorian for now. Yeah, he's definitely headed towards my fish. But let's get Athens. 2 archers and a phalanx. So this is definitely a city that's going to benefit from me causing some collateral damage first. As you can see, caused collateral damage 2 units. It essentially damages all 3 units in this city by only attacking with 1. So pretty much, I think you maybe want to throw one more catapult at that. Yeah, still, there was a limit to how much collateral damage you can cause. I think we did a pretty good job there. Maybe we want to hit it one more time. Let's do that. Oh, that one actually won. And it still caused 2 collateral damage on 2 units, and it destroyed a phalanx. That is one difference, or the one distinction I should make, comparing Warlords to Beyond the Sword, is in Beyond the Sword, siege units cannot kill defending units. They can only cause collateral damage up to like 90%. So that's what makes Catapult significantly more powerful in this version of the game. Okay, what are our odds? 98.2. Let's go for it. And lastly, 96.3. Okay, we've captured Athens. Still don't have the victory resource because of cultural borders. We have earned a great general, which we can put to good use. You gain combat experience for fighting. So far, I have 0 out of 60 experience towards the next great general. It's great to have our first great general. And we've captured Athens. So I think I'm going to be putting a cut in here for time purposes. So thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.